What's going on, guys? Rigotti Gaming here, and welcome back to the video. Today I'm going to start with a new series of weapon guides. Now, I do this all the time in Battlefield, and really Battlefield 1 being a new game, I want to do as many as I can, and really cover some of the early weapons first, and then get to some more of the advanced weapons. So to get straight into it, the first weapon I'm going to talk about is the Rigotti, or the Rigotti, which is actually an Italian rifle, so nobody's sure how you pronounce it. But it's the first weapon you get for the medic class, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Now, when you first use this rifle, if you touch nothing else, it actually feels decent. It feels like a decent rifle that, yeah, you can actually do pretty well with. Then you start using other things, and you realise how underpowered it is, and how bad it truly is. Now, statistically, it is pretty terrible as well. It has the lowest damage out of all medic guns on average. Only has a 10-round magazine, which is pretty damn terrible. It takes 3 to 4 bullets to kill. So if you imagine then, that means you're going to use most of your magazine just killing 2 or 3 people. Even then, you're going to account for all the shots that you might miss. So that's pretty terrible. With the slow reload then, because it's stripper clips rather than a magazine. Not to mention the fact that the bullet spread is the highest out of all DMRs for the medic rifles. And lastly, the rate of fire is only 219 rounds per minute, which isn't even fast enough to be a close quarters rifle. Now, in game, it basically gets beaten out by everything. As long as they actually manage to hit you with enough shots to kill you, then you're basically done. There's really not much you can actually do to win many gunfights, unless you get lucky or somehow manage to get the perfect line of sight on them to actually get a couple of headshots and take your time with your shots rather than just rush them. Now, because in Battlefield 1 there are different variants of different rifles, I'm going to try all of them before I talk about a certain rifle, and if there's a better one than the rest, then I'm going to talk about that one as well. But in this case, for the Rigotti, there is no variant that is any better than the standard factory edition. None of them are any good. They're all pretty damn terrible. Now, when I do these reviews, generally in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, and now in Battlefield 1 as well, I always get a service star, meaning 100 kills with every gun, to get a really good feeling of what it's like. Now, this one certainly wasn't the hardest one I've ever done, but it was definitely the most tedious. I kept looking at the stats to see, have I got enough? Kept thinking, is that enough footage? Can I talk about it now? Have I used this gun enough? And after around about 2 hours of using it, yeah, I think I have a good idea of the rifle itself, at which point I kind of thought, this is enough now, I can stop using this thing. Now, in those 2 hours using this rifle, the best tactic I found was to use it at a long distance, slowly take your shots, and really act as a supporting weapon, trying to back up your teammates and take pot shots at enemies, rather than being something you want to run directly into combat with and really lead an attack. This is certainly a rifle that you can do well with, but it is a huge... This is a rifle you can definitely do well with, but it rarely will that happen, and like I said, so many of the time I just find it best as a supporting weapon, doing what I could from the back lines rather than being a straight ahead, go up and lead the attack weapon. It is nowhere near the best in the medic class, and I would argue that it is definitely bottom 2 worse with the Now, this is definitely a rifle you can do well with, but it's certainly not one where you're going to be leading the attack, topping the scoreboard, and really dominating. It's definitely in the bottom 2 worst out of all the rifles. The 1906 Sebslatter is definitely the worst. I'll talk about that thing in a different episode, but that thing is unbelievably bad. Now, the M1916 Sebslatter is actually really good, and if you get the chance, go up and use that rifle. You get it at level 1 in the medic class. So the only reason I would ever say to use the Rigotti is to get to level 1 in that class. Even then, I would just try and avoid it as much as you can. Use it all you can, but instantly get rid of it. Just move on to something immediately as soon as you get the chance. Now, one thing that kind of confuses me is, as far as I can understand, the Rigotti in real life actually is a bolt action, a straight bolt action that has a gas piston mounted to the side, meaning that it basically is a semi-automatic conversion. So now you'd think, seeing as it's basically a bolt action, it's going to do pretty good damage. But it doesn't do that. It's kind of, wait a minute, shouldn't that be a balancing thing for, not very accurate but high damage? And I kind of feel that they maybe missed out on that, or didn't think about it. I kind of think that's something they should maybe change in a later date. Like I said, you only need to get to level 1 to get better rifles than the Rigotti, so there is no reason to use it beyond that point. And if there's no reason to use it, why is it in the game? It's kind of questionable, and I kind of think it's definitely something they should go up and change eventually. So hopefully you did enjoy this. A bit of a short episode, a bit late as well, mainly because I'm kind of lazy and didn't do the stuff I should have done beforehand. But anyway, hopefully you did enjoy the video. Don't like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.